informed you some weeks ago that we will be conducting and making sure that we have congresses in about 12 states that were outstanding. So I'm here to report that we've concluded congresses in these states. In Lagos, Oyo will be concluded today because they started on Saturday with accreditation and all of that, but they're concluding today. So it's ongoing, and we have no reason to believe that it will be concluded fairly and nicely in Oyo State. On those states over the weekend we did, and from those states we have concluded perfect result. We have a carnival-like environment where people were excited because we work with consensus, we work with conversation, we work with building a relationship to ensure that yes, whoever comes in is almost unanimous, and actually it was. We've concluded in Edo, in Adamawa, Borno, Niger State, and Kogi State. So we've got 8. And in line with the provision of the PDP Constitution, the NWC will sit in the next few days to get a report of all of these, and we'll consider it appropriate. And if there are appeals, we will look at it consistent with our practice and what we do in the party. As you are very much aware, and this is very important, and it is notice to the whole world to this effect, the congresses, the NWC had approved the postponement on congresses in Cross River, Plateau, and Kebbi State. That was published, that was conveyed, it's in the public domain, so there was no emphasis, there was no Congress held, authorized by this party, consistent with its process and its procedures and directives. The congresses in Cross Rivers, Plateau, and Kebbi State were postponed. Of Cross River and Plateau State, the tenure of the executive had expired. And because this party is well organized, it's concerned to provide for every foreseeable situation. We don't want a vacuum in the management of the party at any level. So, consistent with that, the NWC will in the next few days constitute critical committees. We can run that. But in the meantime, for Cross Rivers, because it expired on the 18th of September, what we did was to give superintending the affairs of Cross River chapter to the South-South Zonal Committee to oversee the affairs until the proposed date for the Congress, which again we have shifted. So in the meantime, so they will continue to superimpose until we decide to constitute a caretaker committee in that. So that's to ensure that there are no vacuum. And that's what has happened with Cross River and Plateau State. So right now, as we speak, the affairs of the Cross River State PDP is under the superintendence of the South-South Zonal Working Committee, headed by Elder Ima Ogidi, which is team, I think a 7-member committee. So they will continue to oversee the affairs until the party decides to set up a caretaker committee, pending when we give notice to INEC statutorily for the conduct of those elections in the 3 states mentioned earlier. So basically, these are the updates I want to let you know that in the Ekiti gubernatorial elections, that's oncoming, and we're working towards that. We can tell you we have a total of 5 aspirants from Ekiti, from the forms and nomination forms and expression of interest that we have received. The 3 bills, Udumayokun Oluwole Oluyede, Dr. Funsho Ayeni, and Otumba Olubenga Peter Obafemi. There are 3 male participants that have expressed and they have collected their forms, and that process is ongoing. And there are 2 females. And that's very important. You recall that the women, under our own platform, we encourage women participation. There are 2 women out of 5 contestants. And those women only pay the expression of interest form. They don't pay for nomination forms. That is to make sure that we have women participating in our processes and ensuring that yes, they have a level playing field to be able to contest fairly. And what we practice, we don't say women without showing action to show that yes, we're indeed in support of women. Screening for those candidates will be on the 2nd of October at the NCOC Conference Hall, which is on the first floor of this building. And in obedience, and you see, this is where I want to emphasize this before we start our interactive session of questions. Our party is a party of process and of rule of law, and we follow through with our due process in whatever we do. You recall in Ekiti, there were judgments, there were court orders. And because we don't just flat orders, we don't go to court, get an order, and the order does not favor us because it was a prearranged kind of ambush, and the court say, no, put them on notice. We will follow through, but we are not. When we get a court order, we respect it. So in total obedience of the judgment of the court with respect to events in Ekiti and their congresses, there will be, I repeat, local government congress tomorrow, 30th of September, in Ekiti, 2025. And the state congress, again in obedience with the judgment and order of court, there will be state congress on Wednesday, the 1st of October, 2025. So these are the updates I needed to give to you with respect to our parties and activities, particularly on the National Convention, which of course, like I said, again, the train has actually left, it has arrived in Ibadan, and the work is going on there. Every of these committees I mentioned that has to do with venue and all of that, they're there, and they're working, transportation, accommodation, everything is there seamlessly, and we're coasting there. The convention of the PDP is actually very significant for this country and democracy. And so when you see APC being jittery, it's understandable. But again, so we know we're focusing on our party as a credible alternative, and it's a party that has history with Nigerian people, that can connect to us. That's why the excitement of Nigerians with us. Because we have a record of a 16 years solid progress in this country. And the records are there, it's history. And we can compare, Nigerians can compare the very tortuous 10 years of APC that we're witnessing right now. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. Gentlemen, I'm excited that you are here. And welcome you again to our new media center, and so we can have the conversation. Thank you very much. But I know people go there to have some good time, drink, and take brunch and all that. Again, then talk to that, but this party has a process that you imagine that you can sit down and get some people together and have drinks and call it a congress. That's hallucination. There's a process for you to have a congress. The NWC will constitute an electoral panel. We didn't come to that. So that's why you see that it's a hallucination. It's an excitement, a carnival. So what happened, if it did happen, which I'm not aware of, which the parties are aware, it might be carnival, a pre-carnival Christmas. We are almost in October, so they're in the mood. There was no, for emphasis, there was none. There was no Congress in Cross River State for the PDP, and because it had been postponed along with that of Plateau and Kebbi State. The first question was about Professor Jerry Galan. I don't speak for Professor Jerry Galan. People can express their opinion. But we emphasize this. In this party, as we are today, President Jonathan is a member, he has not said he's not a member. But I can tell you, today, this party has eminently qualified Nigerians, particularly at the governor level, who have done exceedingly well, that Nigeria can tap on their say, step up the plate and do the right thing, because their performances in their states shows their capacity, which is actually the DNA of the PDP. And I invite you, have a peer review mechanism between PDP states and the APC states. And so these are the conversations we should be having, that For the Nigerian people, can we look at PDP and see the array of qualified people that are there? So, I don't speak for President Jonathan. I don't speak for Jerry Ghana, with all due respect. But our party is focused on our convention. And when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. So those will be semantics. Yes, sir.